is Nick. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
We're happy to have you here.
Good to be here.
Last year tulimaliza mwaka na wewe.
Yes.
This year tunamaliza mwaka na wewe.
I'm humble. It should be that way, Richard.
Right?
I said KU is what made me. My first interview show was made by this set.
Nice.
So I'm always grateful when I'm called upon.
Nice.
Because you don't cut the hand that feeds you. And you don't forget home.
Right.
Speaking about the festive season, to me, it's all about family. Because it's been a tough year. Let me say it's been a tough year. We've had a revolution in this country. We've had an impeached deputy president. We've had difficult economic times. Hey, we need to give Kenyans a break.
We had floods.
We had floods. We had floods. So it's been a marathon for Kenya. So I'm hoping for the best for this country, especially during this festive season. At the same time, I'm praying for the best because, again, it's this festive season where we also have ridiculous road accidents, ridiculous deaths at the coastal beach, and also children getting lost here and there. So during this festive season, let's keep safe.
Right.
For those who partake, let's do it responsibly. For those who also eat, let's eat responsibly. And also we watch what we eat.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, there are all forms of that.
Watch what you eat, because you are what you eat.
Yes, we are what we eat. So I'm having good feeling about this Christmas festive.
Okay.
And I'm encouraging Kenyans that for 1 minute, let us forget about our troubles and let us celebrate.
Let's celebrate.
Yes.
Ojwang, Mariam.
It's a very unique Christmas yenye inakuja. It's a very unique jamhuri yenye inakuja. Maybe the political class wanaweza kosa kuona hivyo because Kenyans have won. Amidst all those struggles, Kenyans have won.
True.
It's the same year karibu wa lose airports zao. But they are back. It's the same year karibu mambo ya stima. Mambo ya stima jana tulikuwa tushaanzishwa testing.
Walikuwa washaanza.
Ya ndege tulianzishwa na testing ile ya kuna leak. Kaka wasee vitu aziwako huko
Stima impotea.
Sasa all we need ni gautam kadogo kutoka kule
kutoka ndani ya India.
Kuje ndani na ndani alafu watengeneze vitu. So ya stima walikuwa washaanza. Na kaka kuna stima. Unakaa Kenya Power is powerless. Unakaa unasikia finance bill kuja manze. For the very first time 2023 watu walinini finance bill waliongelea, walishaanza kuwa walk talk about these things. Kitambo watu wakwa wanaongeleaga finance bill. Wewe ulikuwa unangojeaga nani akuje June. Ni June ngapi? 12th. Ama around hapo hivyo the minister or CS for finance akuje hivyo kutoka treasury, akuje apigwe picha hivi, msmile muende home. For the very first time Kenyans wamekuwa engaged in that process. Na ilianza na vijana kusema hii finance bill manze sio kitu nzuri. Na wakasema hapana. Hao watu wanaenda huko wanashiba ndo wanakuja hapa kuambia hii si nzuri. Hii kitu ni nzuri. Someone ordered MPs and told them nataka hiyo bill. Mbio nataka hiyo bill. IMF with all their might used to ile kitu deno uitage authority and money. Wakasema hii bill tunaitaka. President Ruto, can you give us this bill? MPs for the very first time June 25th wakaingia huko na wakavote yes. But the same day kukawaka mtu parliament watu wanasema no, nyinyi mnasema yes. Na wakarudi tena manze, hawakuingiwa na aibu. Unajua kuna wengine wanaingia like
anajificha kidogo.
Una vote yes. Kiwa nini hiyo aliingia akasema sasa mbunge wetu
alisema
for Roysambo wao wamesema yes.
Afrika.
Sasa hiyo tumemuengage kila mahali. Tumemuita mpaka Twitter Spaces huko unamwambia manze don't vote yes. And still Kenyans won because we still don't have that bill. Hata ya 2023 it's illegal and unconstitutional. The High Court declared it. The judiciary said tunatumia 2022. So Kenyans have won.
Okay.
So saizi wa take a break.
It's been a tough year, but Kenyans have won. Someone asked, what have you won? Na mwanadada by the name of Hanifa Farsafi pale kwenye X akasema we won the ground. If you ever hear anyone asking you what did you win in this revolution, we won the ground. If you go home and ask your auntie, your mom, your grandmother even, they'll let you know, and they are aware of what has happened this year. Wako aware of the revolution, wanajua kuna mali jemzi, wanaita jemzi ama wajenzi, na si wajenzi wametokea wamepanga nini, wameita all the names, but something is true, that this conversation has reached to the deepest parts of the republic. And I'm happy that this has also been the show where we have been a part of the conversation, part of the process, whether it's through the discussions ama kuhamasisha watu na mambo kama haya ambayo tunataka kufanya saa hizi. Kwa hivyo I agree with the gentleman here that it's time that whatever it is that has happened throughout the year, from the floods to sijui nini, to Adani, to Shah, to Chief,
so for
assistant chief,
for every Kenya out there, mzee Ogucha,
celebrate.
For every Kenya every Kenyan out there, whether uko na pesa ama hauna pesa, this December unafaa ufurahie, because it's still the same year yenye tumelan manze, you don't need to have money ndo ukue happy. Hizi small wins zenye tunaongelea, let's relax. It's still the same year tuliambiwa msiguze mlima ukaguzwa,
lipapaswa kabisa,
watu walipewa holiday after mlima kuguzwa.
Walipapaswa
watu relax. Mwezi hata tusahau politics kidogo. Wacha wa politicians wajipige. Unajua kuna time we used to have a president and deputy president wote against Kenyans. Sasa hizi hata tunaweza relax because we know tuko na deputy president wawili, mmoja ni wa serikali, mwingine ni wa nyumbani. Sasa huyu wa nyumbani deal na wao, sisi tupumzike kidogo. Hatuna ndani ya kupigania, hatuna DP ya kusema what I must go. Sasa hizi ni mmoja, hata inaandikwa must go. Juu usichoke sana.
Must go.
Let's celebrate.
Let's celebrate.
You know what Ojwang is forgetting to say? That I follow what he does a lot. And this year, unlike 2023, I have seen the way TV so much. The voice of the people.
Nice.
So to me, that's a huge achievement, and he's really modest about it.
He hasn't mentioned it at all.
Yes.
By the way.
And those are the things that we young people should celebrate.
Right.
Because he will tell you it's equally difficult to break through the ceiling. And again, being your own self-sponsored and starting a whole kind of an organization differently, advocating for the things that you're passionate about. I see him talking about the serial killing about women, the injustices about our community. That is a win for us young people.
Right.
And if we cannot clap for one another at this level, then we are not doing anything. I have seen you host great leaders here on this set from January to the last day here. So it's a win also for us individually. And we are praying also as well. We are hoping for the best that coming 2025 and all those years that we are the leaders of tomorrow.
Right.
We are set to be the change that we want. And regardless of the situation whereby me and him are coming from the same constituency and most probably will be on the same ballot, we can always have a conversation maturely.
Yeah.
Let us not engage in the, let me say, backward kind of politics whereby we have to harass and abuse one another so that we prove a point. So to me, I want to celebrate also you, gentlemen,
thank you
for the great work that you're doing. Yes.
Thank you so much. We also celebrate you. We already did, but just to tell you straight to your face.
Your face.
Right? Apart from you being a part of this show, you've done a lot. And I keep telling people here that you do a lot even outside of the ones that we speak here. Apart from politics, of course, always fighting for the people of Roysambu. You are now out with a new party where you're the SG. Very great moves there. Leaders of tomorrow should start as early as now, something that Ojwang also always emphasizes. Anakumbuka hata katikati ya revolution. Kwa sema, tunapigana na revolution, lakini bado tukumbuke, nani anafaa kuongoza after revolution. Tufikirie mambo kama hayo. Parallel. It doesn't take so much out of us because we already have the effort and the energy. And we celebrate you for, advancing that cause. Yes. Outside of that, you also do a lot with, other social causes.
Yes.
I know you're very big with, autism awareness.
Yes.
I know your people. You know, I got to know that they are your people even without you telling me, which is very modest of you. At the same time, shout out to the likes of Nzilani Muthio, who was Miss Autism, right?
Yes. Ambassador for Autism, yes.
Kabisa. Ambassador for Autism, which was the previous one. I think now you have a new lady who took over after her. She's the one who informed me that, you're with my boss, Nick. Like, Allah, kumbe ningemuitisha fair. But yes, shout out to you as well.
Thank you so much. Yes.
And I call out to Kenyans to also take time to look at the wins throughout the year, no matter how tough the times have been.
Yes.
Now, 9 sharp. Let's get into the papers, gentlemen.
Yes.
We have the Daily Nation. Nick, you will help me with the...
Well, I'm surprised because the first headline is a mystery supplier to get SHA billions. Then you have a picture of Gachagua. So are they saying...
like, oh, it's
are they saying he's the former deputy president?
Yeah, he's the
who's a mystery supplier?
Yeah.
What are they trying to do? But to me, this is the best kind of marketing to get us to buy Daily Nation. Yes. Yes.
If you see this headline from far, pale na uone picha ya Rigathi, you're buying it.
You're buying it.
Yeah, for sure. And just to a bit before we get into the stories, I would like to give actually a shout out to the Daily Nation and the nation at large. For this year, we've covered a lot of papers for the last 5, 6, 7 years on this show. But this year specifically, the Daily Nation has been at the forefront of putting the government in check. And even if you look at the headlines, Tuesdays, mostly there's that call out to some of the scandals, some of the hidden things. I remember now they are in a battle with Safaricom because they are the ones who informed us of the tracking that is happening between Safaricom and the government, the data breach, which they give out your location and whatnot. Na saizi wameambiwa hawatapatiwa advertisement, but I like to tell them they're doing better than the Star, who are always praising the government, finding ways to distract us when it's serious issues. And I have always been public and out there in calling out the Star, whether it's on my Twitter account or on this show. You need to do better. Take a leaf from what the Daily Nation has been doing. So, even how they are framing this to get you to buy the paper, you can see these are people who are serious. Wako serious na kazi. Mystery supplier to get SHA billions. Picha ni Rigathi Gachagua, but it's because he is the one who has come out with this information.
That's the tea.
He has all the tea from his short stint with President William Ruto. You can call it a one-night stand in politics, which happened between 2022 and the end of 2024. Impeached, but he is back. He's still fighting in the papers every single week, trying to let us in on some of the secrets which are happening uko nyuma in government. May I have one question before you gentlemen jump in on your thoughts generally? Why is it that this sudden realization of how the direction of the country should be, political awareness happens to our leaders wakishatoka kwa kazi? The things that Rigathi Gachagua speaks of are very important to the nation, but when we needed him to do so or to speak, he did not. I remember in the short stint between when Moses Kuria couldn't make it back to the cabinet and the time he was appointed as the state economic advisor, purely get some magical realizations. Suddenly he knew where to allocate, where public funds zinafaa kwenda, shida iko wapi, tunafaa to fix nini. But when they're in government, it does not happen. And I think this is the same thing that happened with President William Ruto's campaign period, which wowed Kenyans with grand promises and populist manifestos and agendas. And I remember we were here continuously asking people, what is it in this manifesto that you can point out as something that is feasible, something that can be implemented? When they're outside of that position, it's easy for them to speak of these things. Lakini wakiwa hawana hii maarifa. Haya maarifa kama ya Rigathi Gachagua yalikuwa wapi wakati tulikuwa tunayahitaji?
So utasikia mostly wakikuambia kuna secrecy, kuna oath of secrecy when you're in politics, kuna vitu fai kuongelelea. But hiyo ndio inamekigi a politician either to stand out or to be normal. Sawa, utapata watu kama Okia kutoka aingie, yeye hakuchange. He still keeps the government in check through activism. anachukua kesi anapeleka kotini. Yeye alikuwa independent. But for Rigiji akiwa pale hivyo anafungwa, anaambiwa wewe jaribu kuongea tutakutoa, wewe jaribu kuongea tutakutoa. Moses Kuria mwenye umetaja around the time yenye walikuwa wanangolewa from the CS positions, alikuwa mpaka anaingia Facebook anasema wale bilai kanchit kandai niguze nikaseme, but bado akaguzwa akienda kusema kana unakumbuka magazeti yakiandika mpiaro Moses Kuria ni mpiaro ilikuwa those days. Siku hizi hapo mpiaro umepungua. Hiyo kitu the same inakuwa ikisumbua sana the former DP Rigathi Gachagua, because why they say he's an honest man, si juu anaongeaga ukweli, ni juu yeye huongea sana, na akiwa pale DP alikuwa amenyamaza sana na saizi amepata liwe juu aliguza mlima, so ndio anaongea sasa zile vitu zenye wamekuwa kifanya. Kuna jana alisema with time I will expose Ruto. So saizi najua Kenyans especially on X or on Twitter wanaenda kuchange funds, wanaenda kuchange fund wao from Maverick Aoko tuingie kule kwa Rigiji juu. Kwa Rigiji kutakuwa na moti.
Hiyo kidogo inipite. Sasa mwenye anatupatia T.
Tunaambaka Daily Nation venye wako strategic. Sasa wanapatia Rigathi mahali si juu yeye ndiye anapata deals. Ni juu yeye ndiye ameshikilia kikombe na thermos. Alishatolewa pale State House.
Unajua, so huyu ndio news maker for the next couple of
the next 2 years. Vipindi that is kama hawata manage kupitisha ile yenye Senate wanataka kupitisha 7 years, ikuwe 7 years term for the next 2 years, then tutakuwa tunaendelea kuwa active. In this 5 years tumekuwa politics ndio imekuwa active. Systems hazifanyi, health system haifanyi, education system haifanyi, but politics of this country tumekuwa juu sana. Kitu tumeshindwa ni corruption. Juu saizi nasikia Nigeria President Obasanjo ndio anaenda kuingia number 1 amepita Ruto. Tinubu Bola Tinubu amepita Ruto. 2018 NTV Daily Nation walikuwa wametumia nini Sinovate ndo walisema Ipsos ndo walisema the most corrupt politician in Kenya ni nani. So from that statistics hizi tunapata a new statistic yenye Bola Tinubu is the most in Africa. So number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 ni nani? Huyo ndo anazembea
kweli atakuwa exposed kwa sababu page 7 Biashara amesema with time I will expose Ruto to Kenyans. Nick, what is the end game though? This is a man who is impeached, cannot vie, murima yake ishapapaswa, mambo imeharibika, they want to get someone else, but he is trying to give us tea.
Well, I've just had to Google the definition of a politician. A person who professionally involved in politics, especially as a holder of an elected office, a local politician in terms. Well, politics is about survival. And politics about remaining relevance. And I don't think there's much that he will say about Ruto, but he wants to keep the anticipation about his followers. What is this that he has to say? He has to make people talk about him in TV, in radio, in buses, in local gatherings, because that is what is politics. We've been talking about 3 main people in this country for the last 1 year. Number 1 is the president, whatever he's doing. Number 2 is Raila Amolo Odinga with his AU issue. Number 3 is Rigathi Gachagua
with his Mount Kenya.
For those who understand politics, that is what is politics. Baba may not win AU, or he may win AU, depending on the chances. But he makes Kenyans talk about him
until that time.
So when he loses, he gets another issue. Because if you heard Baba talking about 2027, he said clearly, ODM will have a candidate. So what does it mean in the relationship between
Raila and Ruto?
The broad-based government.
As already
you walk into local gatherings in CBD, you find people talking about mulisikia kitu baba alisema. You come to Mount Kenya where me and Mariam come from, you talk about mulisikia alisema nini? Alisema lazima atatoboa. You get?
That's true.
So,
that's right.
Again, I keep telling Kenyans, it's a thin line to keep yourself sane, because how you keep looking at these people, you might actually lose the point.
Okay.
Because at some point you hear Gachagua say he will prepare himself. He has known the president more better. He will know how to engage him more better. What if there's a played scenario whereby they still have a conversation?
Yeah.
But they at the risk of him losing the people of the mountain. Because our people, where we come from, me and Ojwang, once you come out of their hearts,
it's hard to get it back.
It's hard. We tried selling Baba. Baba amepanda mlima. We tried, I'm telling you, it was difficult.
Even with Uhuru Kenyatta's backing.
It's like selling pork meat in a mosque.
Zero customers.
You understand?
Yes. Zero customer, it's a taboo.
It's
Any taboo. It's not supposed to happen.
So, right. What Rigathi is trying to do, he's trying to remain politically relevant, especially here at the mountain. Because he's also taking, let me say, not a chance, but filling in the vacuum that former President Uhuru Kenyatta is leaving. Because he's been silent. Yeah. He appears once in a while, making news, exciting people, and people still remember, by the way, we have a Mudamaki.
They still call him Mudamaki.
You understand? We still call him Mudamaki. But sooner or later, it's still a conversation with our people. People might not like Gachagua, but they're considering he's a fighter. He's fighting for his, not necessarily for his people, because ideally, me and Ojwang, our lifestyle has not changed.
Since fighting for the mountain.
Since you got elected.
And everyone else that we know.
And anyone else for that.
Alidhani maisha itachange time ilisemekana hebu jaribuni mguze mlima.
You get? So, and you see the local mwananchi, how we resonate with the politics is like, if Gachagua is fighting for his people, then it's making sense. The only thing that I agree with Ojwang is he's becoming too loud. Our people don't like a lot of noise. They talk quietly. They listen, they plan, they wait for you there.
Kahora.
Wanakungoja tu pale. Wanakungoja, wanasema, wewe tumekungoja. And you see, ideally you've been seeing that there's a lot of some sort of instability.
Yeah.
And I told you, for the first whole year of President William Ruto, there will be no any development projects. There will just be politics.
Yeah.
If and only if, let's say, by God help him get elected, because I don't see any chance. Where we are as a country, it's boiling.
He's saying,
boiling nice.
Hold your horses.
Yes.
This is his quote on page 6 of the Daily Nation. Hold your horses. Ruto now tells 2027 presidential hopefuls, saying they are roaming around with no concrete plan.
Yes.
Yani, you have written him off, but anasema of all these people, he's the only one with a concrete plan of re-election.
I agree, because him getting elected as president, while purportedly he's a de facto opposition leader and is in government, we have to think about it very carefully.
Okay.
How did he get into that seat? Now he's in that seat. How can we actually remove him? Should we make him an OTP, one-term president? But speaking about Gachagua,
yes,
people also people are not also understanding the law. According to the law, you are only impeached as a holder of public office, according to Chapter 6 of the Constitution, up to a maximum years of 2 electable terms. That is 10 years.
Okay.
However, there is still a pending case looking at the process of his impeachment. Today we are going to read about Sonko's case at the East African Court. He still says he has hope of him becoming back
as a governor. Political relevance, long term.
You see, at the end of the day, it gets people to understand. Yeah. If I was William Ruto, because at the moment, the only threat that William Ruto is facing is his former deputy president, politically. Because it was almost certain if Gachagua wins his court cases, right, and he's eligible to vie for 2027, people will gun up to vote for the guy. Not because he's the best, but out of sympathy. That's what we did in 2022.
Yeah.
People voted for Ruto out of
Sympathy.
especially where we come from.
Or punish someone.
To punish.
It's always about punishing someone else. So I want to tell Kenyans, let's be real. Let's wake up. Okay. Look at things on a different kind of rear view. But what Gachagua is doing is brilliant. He's still remaining relevant. We're still talking about him.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm still asking here questions.
Yes.
To what end? Which means he has
He's
won.
making news.
Yeah, he's won it.
Yes.
Mystery supplier to get SHA billions. However, the things that he speaks of are important for Kenyans to keep a tab on. Mambo ya SHA, muangalie. Mambo ya Adani Group could take over things over the country, public institutions and public facilities. Mali ya umma. In short, hizo ambazo anataja, ambazo niko sure, he's also riding on just to ensure he's popular. Again, a brilliant take on politics from Mwadime Mwangi on how this plays out, staying relevant for the long term, and that's why Kenyans should look at it from that very angle. Ojwang Mariam ushinda akisema, na mimi penda kuquote hapa kwa sababu kuna wosia. Unasema, ukisoma headline, unasoma shadow ya headline. Unasoma headline unaangalia shadow, inaonyesha ni that's where the story is at, right? So ensure that you're doing that whatever political developments you see. President William Ruto page 6 says political hopefuls au kina Okia Omtata, nimemuita Okize Omtata mapema in case wako na ofisi ile ya Rigiji. Yes.
Wapatie kazi.
Okize Omtata, I call it fast. Wapatie kazi akiingia. So amesema kina Okize Omtata na kina Morara na the rest of who are pandering their names out there. They have no concrete plan. And watulize boli mambo bado ya 2027. So you can read that on page 6, and page 7 is where Gachagua is saying he will expose Ruto with time, and he has begun with giving out where they fell out, and more details are going to follow. More of this SHIF was wanasema chaos is a ladder. Wale ambao wana rip big on page 2 of the Daily Nation ni cyber cafes. Cyber cafes ripping big from patients as SHIF was persist. Tunakumbuka ukienda kuundiwa sijui kia repin na nakwambia ni 200 na ni kitu ana download na
sasa hizi ni 250
kabisa.
Kuninisha ni 250 bob.
Kitu ya seconds.
Kitu ya seconds.
That's why digital literacy is very important. And we always ensure here on Biashara Tuesday. Una tune in. Tunakwambia ungekuwa unajua hizi vitu, hautaenda pale unaumizwa mahali. Nakumbuka one time I was looking for my certificate of good conduct. Nikafika pale Kiambu Road. Nikifika ndani pale askari akaniambia umekuja na photocopy ya hiyo kitu online? Hapana. Enda pale nje yule jamaa atakusaidia haraka tu. Thank you sana. Asante sana officer. Enda pale nje jamaa ananiprintia polite. How much? 2,500. Brother, I've already printed. You've already Asha print. You can't not pay it. And this is a scheme that is being played by the police officer at the gate, and the guy who is this guy positioned at the front there. So the thing that digital literacy helps you with is to know these processes. Unajua unaweza ingia huduma, dial USSD code, unaweza ingia online kwa portal Citizen, ujifanyie vitu fulani so that you also serikali sikuumize na bado taxpayers wanakupata kwa kona
na pia wewe unajiumiza.
Wanakuumiza.
I'm thinking it on a different angle,
right?
Because if you're a businessman, you take an opportunity of the times, and you see what,
but it's unscrupulous to some point, no?
And that's why they say it's business, nothing personal. That's the unfortunate situation, because ideally we are supposed to we have digital phones, and the whole issue of bringing digital phones was to reduce our time to the old kind of PC, going into computer rooms, so that we enable ourselves. And I want to agree with you. Kenyans are, I don't want to say lazy to some extent, but let us become a little bit clever, because this is town and this is Nairobi. Yes, they will squeeze to the last drop because they are taking advantage of your situation whereby you don't know how to apply for
a help.
However, I'm also pleading with the government. Let us make regulations whereby our Kenyans are not ripped off.
Yeah.
Because as it says, this is clearly ripping Kenyans off.
Yeah.
How printing of a good conduct certificate? How do you charge me 2,500? That is ripping.
50 ya kutoa. Yani dile umenielewa nataka bado ni.
So how can we make sure that you make your ends meet, but at the same time, I don't feel ripped off?
Right.
That's the question that you're supposed to be.
So the problem I get from you actually is that for even businesses to get to a point where now let's rip off the taxpayers, the government is already ripping me off.
Exactly.
It's making this situation difficult.
And that is also happening in our telecommunication industry. That's what I don't want to malign Safaricom, but most people are complaining about the ridiculous charges. That is, if sending 1,000 bob, long time ago used to be 3 bob. Right now we are playing at 11 bob.
And in Ethiopia, they're doing it at a standard rate of 5 shillings across all amounts.
So it's an urge to members of parliament. Let us make policies. Let us make laws that make sure that, in as much as we are paying taxes, we're also enjoying our country and not feeling ripped off.
And enjoying the country is not just public facilities. I agree. It's also how businesses are treating.
Yes, how businesses are working in our motherland.
Yeah.
Because that is what is clearly happening in our country.
Okay.
All sectors, whether it's telecommunication, whether it is supermarkets, let there be a standard there. But at this brim, you cannot overdo.
Okay.
Yes.
Health Ministry has said it will provide tablets to public hospitals for them to do free registration. So that's just one of those ways, just like Nick has, unakuanga mbele sana, uko mbele hadi ya ministry. Ashawapatia advice, wamefikiria maneno, wanasema wataweza ku provide tablets hopefully.
I told you Nakumincha will go.
And she did went. Utatuambia kitu kuhusu Barasa one of these days.
In fact, wanasema Barasa wanasema the difference between the current series held, the Dr. Barasa and Nakumincha is the name.
The operations are the same, if not worse, since she came in.
So as that is happening, wanasema cancelled Adani deals on MP's table now. Parliament is on hand for tangible evidence that the deal between Kenya and Gautam Adani farms had been terminated against that they share with the courts. Hapa hivi ndo hawataki ile mess yenye iko kwa finance bill that yes, finance bill imeondolewa but huko nyuma wanaingisha kamoja kamoja. So if the president is telling Kenyans that tuliwachana na Adani manzi yeye ni ex, in fact hata nasikia anatafutwa huko US ako inducted ameenda, tuonyeshe evidence kwa karatasi bwana. Na hata hiyo evidence kwa karatasi venye tunaongelea hapa hivyo tunataka standard, the MPs bado wanafikiria vile sasa wapangia next. That's why wanasema wataka tuona hii cancellation ndio waanze kuwa mbioni sasa ya kutafuta watu wengine.
They're actually saying it here that they're seeking new investors after their Adani exit.
And the question that Kenyans are begging is still the same. Why were you not doing that before?
Yeah,
we kept telling them that Adani is bad for this country, but they kept convincing us, oh, PP, because wametumia jina PPP. Hey. Kama kuna jina imepewa mwaka PPP, private public partnerships.
Yes.
Sasa bado wanatafuta venye watatufinyia hapo hivyo. But ikikuja unasikia wenye wanapewa kandarasi ni wao. You know, it's legal for you to do business with the government where you're in government. There is no way you can be chief economic advisor to the president and your wife, no matter how katabaki she is or mwende and wherever she is going is 104 billion wako nayo hapo hivyo washughulikie mambo ya SHA na wewe uko hapo hivyo
benefiting. So actually, Rigathi Gachagua did mention that one of the economic advisors of the president are involved in that deal, and I would like to say, of course, we had already mentioned it here that it's through economic advisor.
So Gachagua na miss on tea.
Right.
Tukapata tea, then we go for Nick Mwadime. Vitu tulikuwa tumeongelea. Kwanza sasa natuambia nitawaambia na tunajua.
You see, I was listening to Gachagua and he said that renovating NHIF will have cost Kenyans tax money 770 million. SHA has costed us 104 billion.
That's I don't know even the percentage ratio there is in the thousands.
Right now, let's be practical. I've done a little bit of survey, gone to public hospitals to just listen to people and asking them if they're really getting their services. Richard, I can report to you today, they are not.
Yeah.
You see, I want to imagine Ojwang is talking about Mwende, Atieno, right? A young mother, right, who cannot, a young expected mother who cannot afford medical services. He relies on NHIF. Today, if you walk to any public hospital, whether it is whatever hospital that you know, whether it is Penda, whatever. So the first requirement, if you are a mother and you are expectant, the NHIF will cover the random 60 up to 70,000 shillings. So the top up, whereby you are told maybe it's a little bit of 25 to 30k, you're supposed to cover it at a personal level. Now I'm imagining I'm in a situation whereby my sister, my cousin, my many friends are in a position whereby they cannot afford the 105 completely fee na akwa wardroom.
Hard.
The danger that we are putting Kenyans is too expensive.
Right. They actually have here some figures. Just like you've mentioned on page 4 of the Daily Nation, they're giving an example of some of this. For instance, repairing a posterior ligament or anterior crucial ligament injury common in accidents and sports will be covered by SHF up to 280,000, but the vendor will get 345,000 more than the SHA cover. Still, the document shows that the hospital will receive 65,000 for patients seeking that and that. So it's a lot of figures actually. I thought that I'm going to make sense of it right away, but it's figures that you can have a look at to see who gets what, right? So here they say that the vendor, who is whoever is providing this cover, that is, will get more than whoever is being covered.
I will tell you a shocking thing.
Right.
What is happening when you're doing the registration of this shower shift? My grandmother went to a public hospital to register for this shift, and she was told that she needs to register with 1,000 bob because previously we were doing registration with 500 shillings. She said she cannot afford 500 shillings. Do you know they went to a negotiation point?
They did.
They did.
About healthcare.
Yeah. So how much can you
give?
Can you give? You see the kind of games that is happening at the ground. It's too expensive.
That's loophole for corruption, and corruption in healthcare is dangerous.
This is an old lady who's suffering from old diseases that need periodically checks. We cannot put Kenyans' life at that risk.
Okay.
It's too expensive. Well, as for Baraza, unlike Nakumincha, let me say she knows what she's doing.
Does she?
You understand? You see, you might not agree with the policies of the government of the day, but at least pretend to know what you're doing. Nakumincha had no clue.
That is the difference.
That's the difference. And that's why she will survive. Number 2, she's listening to doctors.
They're on strike, however, they've issued a strike notice for December.
It's a legal mandate.
But she has already released a bit of the
medical interns are still dying or suicide because of stress to a point. Saizi wanasema tunarudi barabara bado.
You see, when you are given a role, a mandate, look at CS Joe. for the first time I'm hearing about blue economy,
which you never knew of.
Never known what blue economy does and mining. I have never. But you see, as a CS, he's purporting to show
that he knows.
He knows. That is your solemn responsibility. In as much as the policies might be difficult, the execution of the work might be strenuous, at least pretend to be knowing.
Right. And that is what citizens want. Just someone who listens and at the very least shows some effort. Kweli Ruto amesema tupitishe shi na shaf, lakini wamama kuja hapa kando.
Sasa hao wamama wanaumia zaidi yo Kenya mashinani. I've been interacting with the civil servants. You know, kama kwetu example, siasa inakuanga so bulldozed, you don't talk. Ukisikia uko na point fulani na unataka kuongelea huko kwa hizo group za mashinani, you call Ojwang, unamwambia Ojwang sema so wananiambia unakatwa 3k. Hii si ka ile nyingine percentage, ni 3k on gross. Mshahara wako ikiingia kitu cha kwanza 3k inaenda shift sha. Umeshika? Ikitoka hapo hivyo haifiki kwa hosi. So hawa bado civil servants, middle income community level ya watu hapa nchini Kenya. When they get to these hospitals wanaambiwa, no, we are not taking people who are using SHIF or the SHA. Because the funds are not being remitted to hospitals. Wanasema system iko na shida. As hii system iko na shida ya SHIF SHA, haina shida kwa kucollect pesa. Iko na shida kwa kutoa. Unaona? So wanaambiwa, if you want to access services in these private hospitals, unajua wao usema mimi ni civil servant, si ndio? So acha niingie private hospital mahali atuko wengi na nirudi job nikaserve watu. Wanaingia huko wanaambiwa hapana, kuja na private, si uko private, kuja na private medical insurance cover. Juu ingine ya SHIF/SHA haifanyi. But on the standard kurasa wa 6, President defends SHIF and slums leaders pushing divisive politics. So wamefanya sasa ikakuwa ni politics. Ukiongea kitu negative kuhusu SHA wanasema wewe ni opposition.
Hata kanisa wamesema juzi watu wa kanisa waache politics na work na government. Which is really crazy to say from a politician.
Well, from a political angle, I'm looking at it this way. Because I understand what the church is doing. The whole picture is to get Ruto at the table. Because I understand so many churches have an issue with the introduction of tax of
the revenues from offerings and whatnot.
We were having a conversation yesterday. There's a document that is circulating online whereby allegedly Oscar Sudi and Murkomen have been banned. But I was just asking myself, what is it that the US want from Ruto? Because that's a card. If you go to my lieutenants, you definitely want me on the table. So again, I tell Kenyans, let us be as Ojwang likes to say, look at what is under the shadow. Because ukienda mashinani, hawataki kujua SHA unatoa thao ama hizi siasa zote. Wanataka kujua mimi natoa pesa ngapi. Usiniambie vitu mingi. You just need to understand that. Right. They are not involved in what Barasa is doing, what the profits of SHA. They just want to know how much do I need to
pay when I'm needed to pay.
So as young people, we have a responsibility to educate and give civic education to what is going on.
Okay. Right. SHIF/SHA. Let's know. How has it affected you so far, actually, for those people who've tried to use it? Mimi najua malimeni affect ni kichele changu cha hii mwezi kilikuja kama so I have yet to use it in a hospital setting or someone in my family, but if you have and if you've been involved in this, let us know umefika wapi. But that's the big conversation on the Daily Nation from what Gachagua said. But the most important bit to know is how you are going to contribute, just like Nick anasema, and you can read more of that on page 4. We're going to break down your numbers and how that contribution looks like in instances. Who gets the lion's share, who doesn't. It's actually a full spread page there on page 4. It's funny because on page 2 of the Daily Nation, it's about a hospital that is just close to my TV station. I was trying to avoid this story, but it's hard to do so because it's on page 2.
Before we get there, Richard, I think also the government needs to work on, let me say, a set of guidelines, because those who are working.
Let me pass this to Ojwang Mariam to help us with that story on page 3 there.
Those who are working privately and have good money, have a health cover, Jubilee health cover, maybe Mwadime health cover. At the same time, there's a squash of shift. So there's a huge argument. Why do I need to pay for a cover that I will not use?
Yeah.
That is also something that the government needs to align itself with. So that why, if I'm getting Jubilee insurance, why do I need to
pay for the SHIF?
And they should stop lying to Kenyans that this amount of money tunakatwa inaenda kusaidia watu maskini. Na watu maskini pia wanakatwa.
Ati matajiri ndio wanakatwa, the middle class. John,
so wanasema kuhusu mambo ya health bado, and it's so sad watu kumiss pendi watu wana miss on localities and geolocations. Geographic locations. So Daily Nation your beloved wamefanya the same. So your beloved wanasema Daily Nation, employees demand reinstatement of medical covers, and CEO who was sent on leave. Hapa tunaongelea kuhusu Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital strike grounds Kenya Hospital Services. Sasa shida iko, wanasema medical workers at the hospital in Kiambu County says the facilities management has neglected the welfare. This hospital is nowhere in Kiambu. No, it is in Roysambu constituency, Nairobi, ndani. The hospital yenye ukitoka tu hivi ukupumua, former president Uhuru ameenda huko sana. Akitoka napatanaga watu wa ghetto wako hapo wamejaa. Ni ghetto gani? Ni Kamae, ni Soweto, ni Kahawa West. MCA mwenye uongea ni wa Kahawa West. MP mwenye uongea ni wa Roysambu. Why then are you telling us in Kiambu County?
Najua nimekuguza kwa sababu
hiyo imeniguza wewe. Hata ukiendelea sasa unaanza kuwa in misinformation. Tunataka kuongelea vile wanateta wanasema Professor Olive Mugenda anawaumiza sasa kwa sababu anawatolea CEO mwenye wao wanaamini is a working CEO, na wametolewa pia medical covers hawa wafanyakazi wa hospitali. Ndio maana wanasema
wafanyakazi wa medical wanatolewa medical cover.
Imagine another thing that is happening. Unaona hiyo shift sha inasemekana kama wewe ni unafanya kazi kwa medical fraternity unatolewa, kwa hiyo eti kuna ingine special
yako
kama wewe ni civil servant kwa unaelewa mambo ya shift sha hakuna, nyinyi hamtaingia kwa hiyo, kuna ingine. So if shift sha doesn't shift as tuna shift huko, if shift sha is that good, why then kuna watu wanapewa separate medical cover apart from the best? If it is the best inafaa kuwa
good for all of us.
Tunafaa kusikia President Ruto shift
yake imekataliwa mahali.
Imekataliwa mahali useme kumbe hiki tu haiko tu bottom, iko mpaka up. Saa hizi watu wenye wako up ni kama wao wanataka wapewe up yao yenye wao watakuwa kitumia shift nyingine na sio hii yetu, unaona? So as tunaongea hivyo bado kuna mambo ya
I love the wordplay, I have to say.
Tech wanaumia sana. So kuna watu wanaitwa gig economy.
Watu wa mtandao. Watu wa forex.
Watu wa mtandao wanaundiwa laws. Wanaundiwa bills. Wanasema Fury, this is page 8. Fury erupts over bill silencing tech workers' rights. Okay. The Kenya Union of Gig Workers, KUGWO, has strongly opposed a proposed bill by Senator Aaron Cheruiyot that seeks to prevent workers from suing tech companies. Kuna kitu hapa hivi nimekaa mkunote. Senate nilikuambia gani House of Brains, ndio? Ni kama washapata watu watakuwa wakitumia whenever they want to speak kitu yenye haina brains itself, wamechagua some senators who can do that. So anajua mtu kama Aaron Cheruiyot, yes, he is a majority leader pale hivyo, but he just knows how to talk. You know, when you speak so much, it's likely you could say something silly. So wanatumiaga hiyo likely sana.
When you speak so much, it's likely you could say something silly.
Yeah, they are still the guys who are debating on adding the 2 years. Saizi unasikia gig economy ndio hiyo wanataka kuguza kila mahali. Wanataka kila mahali wana feel wanaweza pora washike wa regulate. Hivyo ndivyo inaanzaga, washike wa
regulate.
Right. Wengine mambo ya education bado juu inaumiza sana. MPs announces closure of 348 boarding schools. I think nafaa tuanzie masomo hapo hivyo primary.
Kweli. Nick,
well, when I look at this issue about where our hospital is, KU Referral Hospital, the CEO Ahmed Dagane, who had proceeded to leave, I just think as board politics, because workers don't just come out
to strike.
You know, if you've done these things of strike, there has to be a fire somewhere. And when the chairperson of the board, Professor Mugenda, advised the CEO Ahmed Dagane to proceed to immediate leave, I could smell Malif, because almost immediately an appointed CEO called Isaac Irungu, if I'm not wrong, was appointed as in acting capacity. So what I want to know is how this politics of KU can be resolved, so that people coming for services at this hospital can get them equally fair.
Outside of the politics.
Outside the politics, because this hospital is becoming too political.
Yeah, and it's not started now actually.
Exactly, because I've read the history, and it's not the first time we've had this issue about the problem with the chairperson, the problem with the CEO. So I want to
problem with the school.
Yes, I want to reach out to the board and tell them, resolve your issues very quickly, because we need services very quickly. These employees need to reduce the issues, whatever they're raising, the issues of sexual harassment, the issues of work pay, should be sorted out, so that our people in Roysambu get medical services. And finally, let me challenge Evans Habil, because he's the
writer of that story.
Yes, writer of this story.
Okay.
Please do your due diligence. It is really embarrassing that we can have a whole topic said that this hospital is in Kiambu County without, you're a journalist, for crying out loud. Do not embarrass the profession. It's a serious profession that you guys do. Take your time, read your article, do your homework, kuja kwa ground. Tafuta watu kama Ojwang, watakuambia shida ya hapa ni. If you want to sell your story, to rise the emotions that you want, sell it right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nick Mwadime Mwangi, quotable man, always SG.
Kenya Hadi Party.
Look for it. Utaweza kujua mambo yake pale na ufuatilie. Business Daily inatuletea mambo ambayo sponsored by Ann Odida. Sorry, this is I don't know.
Speaking of it, our good friend, I saw her trending. I almost asked you, what's not happening there?
The broke boys
skincare routine. Wakenya tuacheni hivi.
The Broke Boys Association, BBA. Kenya Party have come out wakisema anatumia skincare pesa mingi.
Yes.
When they complain that your pesa anatumia skincare ni mingi.
Yes.
Kasema kichele chako kama kinipungua hiyo ni shida ya kwako.
Yes.
Which did not make the association happy.
Yes.
So they released a couple of their lieutenants on her.
Yes.
They still have the Broke Boys Association Kenya branch, still active till this day. Kila siku akiamka lazima waamke na yeye.
But I want to encourage her, because I know she's not on the set.
Yes.
Because there's no bad PR. She right now.
Ojwang actually said the same thing.
Right now, she's on the map.
She is.
Because for those who did not know Ann Odida and they're living in Mombasa, they now know.
They know who she is.
Because I have seen
how much she spends on. They know what she does.
She's doing an amazing work. I saw her interview with Martha Kalwa.
Yeah.
Those are milestones, and I say it, as young people, let us clap.
Yeah.
We may not like necessarily whatever she's doing, but let us clap. When it's their turn, clap. Let's clap. Your time will come.
And so clap for you.
And they will clap for you. So let me tell her that fear not.
Yeah.
Some of us are
a lot of times online.
You see,
tough skin needed.
Wanasema kwa Kiswahili, mti usio mwenye matunda haupigwi
nini na wale watu
bas. So yeye akona matunda
wanaiona bas ndio wanarusha. So I said this story is sponsored by her because it was a fight between her and Broke Boys. And Business Daily inatuambia women outnumber men in Kenya's new top earners club.
Yeah, si tuko na hiyo proof sasa, right?
Naona skincare wanatumia skincare.
Uangalie how many men are talking about their skincare routine. Ya mwanaume ni kagunia, I told you, sabuni ya ushindi na hate.
Na ile gunia ya kukata kujivunia.
Baka ushasonga.
Women are doing so much better than we men.
So that's what it says here. You can read more of those stats on as distribute, who takes home what amounts, and this data is from KNBS. By the way, just another, because we're giving flowers also due to this being the end of the year, flowers to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. I think this is the body of government I have used the most on this show to get factual figures. They actually do wanaenda wana get wachana mambo sometimes hata hii Ipsos yenye tumemention hapa mara wamekuja na zingine mara wamesurvey
1500 tukisema atusemagi ati Ipsos ama Sinovate walisema tunasemaga Daily Nation walisema
Sinovate walisema
because I never believe in what Sinovate has said.
Daily Nation walisema ati Sinovate walisema KNBS wamesema
na mtu anasi kadongo
kabisa Auditor General Auditor General na Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the only things which are working in Kenya. So read for yourself on page 2 of the Business Daily where this is. Maybe Nick utatuambia, you as one of the top earners, hii story inakuambia nini? Ojwang earlier in his sentiments alikuwa amesema, he pointed out towards the challenges of a boy child, a man in this republic. Black tax inakuandama, kazi ambayo unafanya ni ya sulubu, even earning this much is hard because of the career path that most men choose to pursue. Either it takes a long time ama ni kazi heavy ambayo bado hiyo pesa una earn. Watu ambao wanaitegemea ni wengi in general. Everyone expects a man to give, and I will agree with Ojwang there. When a man earns, everyone earns actually. When a woman earns, a woman earns. Which is true to why there are few even in bank accounts ambayo ni men wako na above 100,000 ni kiasi wenye wako na pesa kwa bank yenye kwa above 100,000 as compared to ladies. Sijui maoni yako ni yepi?
Well, the question that we should be asking ourselves is it a threat to the society?
Balance.
Because I don't see any threat into it, as we say, because there is a whole history of how women came into the working environment. If you go and read the social laws, the working laws, the labor laws, why in the history where women could not work in industries, women were just made to be housewives, women are not meant to go out to follow their career, to the latter. However, that does not depict the issue of what we do as men, because I am a huge advocate about you are only as strong as who you are. Because if my sister is earning more than me, that does not make me inferior at any point. Because I understand in life that we can never be equal, whether it is financially, whether it is spiritually, whether it is socially or intellectually. We have to give them flowers if they are earning more money than us at this point of stage. However, I understand the fact that ideally, statistically, it is 5 in a population of 5. 3 out of the 5 will be women who will easily get a job. So is it a question whereby should we look at how do we now improve the working environment within our country? I did an engineering course. You have done an engineering course. You know that we used to struggle to have women in engineering class. Right now, they are the great champions about those courses.
Yeah.
So that does not again mean equate the equation of men not becoming relevant. So can we look also on a platform whereby if one woman gets a job, one man gets employment. However, it's also a very different equation whereby earning 10,000, if you're both earning 10,000 at a salary rate, it will fully depend on how we invest. That is what will make the difference between who's poor and who's rich. Because at the same time, women also suffering from the issue of learning how to invest our money.
Right. Okay.
So we then have a lot of insecurities that is increasing within us as men.
Yeah.
That is also something I encourage our beloved gender men to look at again, finally, because the issue of money is usually very sensitive.
Yeah, it is.
And you've seen a lot of GBV happening in our homes.
We are actually in the middle of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence.
And you see, gender-based violence, it does not mean women. Gender is gender. It's both. It cuts across. There are men who are seriously butchered or beaten by their wives because, again, they don't have the financial muscles. At the same time, men, it's getting into men's head that since I'm not financially secure, I can come home and do ridiculous things to to our wives.
Yeah.
So let us be civil people.
Okay.
Let us, again, we understand that our economy is a little bit harsh.
Yeah.
Let us I encourage family, let us do economic, let me say, evaluation of our family. If we cannot survive in a 3 meal a day, at least let us afford a 1 meal a day that reserves us from being violent, because naturally we are animalistic.
Yes.
If I push you to the corner, Richard, you will show me how animal you are.
Yeah.
Because
especially if I'm hungry, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you do a small a white man is really usually wants to do a lot of research. If you put a man into a room and without food and water for maximum of 3 days, the violence creeps in him. It's very different with the women. They tend to fight. They tend to think, how should I survive out of this
situation? And for once, how do I fight out of this situation?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you think about it, that psychology. If we borrow a little bit of what women do, rather than fighting, let us learn to survive.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you look at this headline, it should encourage men to work harder.
Yes.
In short.
Yeah,
yes.
Only weak men feel threatened by that, I'd say, because, for example, even on the standard page 7, Family Bank imeweka wanawake watatu wamepewa independent non-executive director. Wa kwanza ni Professor Winnie Iminza Nyamute, amekuwa appointed na akapewa kazi ya independent non-executive director. Wa pili ni Hannah Njeri Mbogwa, same position, na mwingine ni Dr. Penina Wanjira Kariuki. Hiyo ni Family Bank, si ndio? So hao wanawake wanaenda kuongezea pesa za skin care routine. But wewe kama mwanaume usikie mrembo ana 100k, do you know inakusaidia sana? It means huyu mrembo next time akikuitisha pesa za skin care routine zitakuwa ndogo zenye ana expect from wewe.
Yes.
Usisahau, you are supposed to be a man. A man was given sole responsibility of being the provider. Umeshika? So hizi vitu zenye unasikia
wewe una provide, ameanza kupata kakitu na
sisi ndio tunafaa kwa tukipatia hao wanawake hizo pesa. Hiyo 100k wewe ndio unafaa kuwa unafikiria, okay, how do I make more money ndio nipewe 100k. Mwingine anatumia pesa on skincare products, wewe umeondolewa hiyo stress.
Sasa kuna yake
busy fighting her. We asked for empowerment, juko ndo tulitoka kwenye wamama walikuwa anaambia wewe kaa hapa hivi, kazi yako ni moja tu, wewe nizalie nilelee. Unaona? Sasa hizi tunawaambia ingia, so that we stop using the 50% potential that we are having tuitumie 100%. Mwanamke alete 50%, mwanaume alete 50%. Hata tukifanya ile hesabu ya minus yenye tunasemaga, kwa nyumba yenye mwanaume ana earn 10,000 na mwanamke ana earn 50,000, kwa table wako na pesa
10,000
always
na
10,000. Whatever that lady wishes to do with that money, hiyo ni kazi yake. Unaona, inakuwa mahali iko na kashida kidogo juu hadi ladies sometimes who feel men should provide. Mazee niliona mwingine kwa mimi wanauliza, why am I hustling like a man? And I was so worried. Nikauliza, then why do we all of us go to school?
Yeah.
Why do we all of us go to universities? Why are we encouraging women to do these STEM courses, science and mathematics, technology? Ndio wakuwe empowered, wa work kama sisi, unaona? Hao warembo unasikia wanasema, now that is a poor man's and stingy man's mentality, unaona? That you're not supposed to have that. But we are empowering them so that they can have this. This luxury wanatafuta. Tumeshindwa kuwapea kama wanaume. First thing tunafaa kujipiga sisi, we have failed on that. So tukisikia wanawake wanakuwa empowered to that point, unajua tu wewe kama mwanamume umelala sana. We are coming from a generation yenye tulikuwa tunasema tutengenezeni mpaka viti vya women rep, ndio wawili watatu waingie. Sasa ndio hao wameingia, tumeanza sasa complain, wanapata wengi 100.
Tumia pesa mingi kwa stay.
Unaona? But ni pesa yao, those are the things that we wanted. So that now you can focus. Your 10k yenye unapata
sasa inaweza fanya biashara gani? Invest aje vile Nick anasema.
Right. So hata hapo ndio unamwambia now that uko na zako za lotion, wacha hizi
John Mariam, asante sana. I will have to cut you short because it's 9:55. Na sitaki tuguze story yote nyingine actually at this point.
And we must sing.
Yes, and we must sing. Actually ndio maana harakisha.
Lazima tuingie na baba yake. It's not the dad.
So, jisome. Whatever else is left on the papers, please take time today and have a look at it. Opine. You can tag us on social platforms. We react even outside of this show. Thank you, gentlemen, for creating time for this show. It's been an exciting year to be here, to engage with you guys, to engage with our audience. So I'm very grateful for this year and for all the years that I've been on this show. I've been on this show for 5 years and 5 months.
5 years.
5 years and 5 months, bro. Every single Tuesday, I have been on this show, except one time. Enye kidogo kafoa nipeleke kwa baba na chicken yao fulani. Asubuhi singewezana. Otherwise, I have had 100% record of attendance on this show. And I'm grateful for all those who have been on this journey as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. Ningependa usome hiyo quote at the back of the Business Daily. Uturushie 30 seconds pekeza take Amalia watu wanasema
vile anamalizaga to the people.
Wewe sijui nikupatia lakini sitakupatia 15 seconds ndio tuimbe. Kuimba ndio tunataka tuimbe just 9:56 and producer ananiambia 9:58 atakuwa ametutoa kwa signal.
So which one will come first, the last word or my parting shot?
Your parting shot, so that
we do the last thing.
Yes.
Of course, I have to give gratitude to the people of Roysambu because they have allowed me and Ojwang to sit here constantly to represent and talk about them. And then of the most important issue, the people of Roysambu had given us an opportunity to start a political party. And they said that we must have a political party at our base. So Kenya Hadi Party is coming for the first time in Roysambu. And I'm telling people that we are going to open slots of leadership. So across the country, beginning where I'm coming from, if you feel you're a leader, please come out. Come out, tell the people you are people that you deserve this space. This is the space for you, and you can show them leadership. Kenya Hadi Party is a young party. We just got registered on the October 16, 2024, and we want to welcome every single person across the board, and to tell them that KP simply, we want to say, haki yako, ahadi yetu.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much, Nick. Quote, and then we go to Ojwang.
So, Denise Morrison, former president and CEO of Campbell Soup Company, anasema, balance suggests a perfect equilibrium. There's no such thing. That is a false expectation rather. There are going to be priorities and dimensions of your life. How you integrate them is how you find true happiness. Let me repeat. Balance suggests a perfect equilibrium. There is no such thing. That is a false expectation. There are going to be priorities and dimension of your life, and how you integrate them is how you find true happiness.
Wow.
Yes.
That's great for the next year. Ojwang Mariam. 15 seconds, bro. Alafu tunaimba. 9:58 anaambia ananitoa hewani.
Kanisa litajengwa na kina nani was the question they asked to the youth.
Yes.
And now I am glad that we are seated somewhere. Kama hapa tuko politicians from Resambo constituency, not fighting each other, not talking about personalities, but agendas, issues, and interests that concerns every one of us. It is one win that wazee wameshindwa kufanya. Go to those mainstream media houses, others, and kila asubuhi na kuaga ni vita. Host anaachia huyu, karibu aliwacha. But whole year, we've given Kenyans conversations that matter to them. Na hiyo ni proof enough that vijana tukiungana, bei ya unga yezi tushtua. Juu saizi watu wanatumia unga kutanganisha badala ya kuungani. Let's continue doing the same thing. Kenya is headed in the right direction. Don't be worried by someone who is saying that all the others are planless. Everyone is planless, including our current president. That is why anashikwa kwa US anataka kununua propaganda machine. Au wametoka huku wameenda huku kwingine zote zinaingiana. Hakuna za mtu yote anaingiana. In that very moment, please Kenyans, let's take care of our mental health. Ensure that it comes fast. Kama akili yako haifanyi, tumbo vile vile haitafanya. It is